News team. Thank you for joining us. I'm Christine Johnson.
And I'm Chris Raggi. Here with Dana Tyler and Jim Rosenfield. Now with the news at 6. Guys.
Thanks, Chris and Christine.
And right now it's 6.
I've answered all your questions about my knowledge, what I knew.
It's not over. Tonight, another agency is investigating the alleged plot to take down one of Governor Spitzer's political rivals.
Beneath the Earth will take you inside the hole left by last week's steam pipe explosion.
Slimy strap hangers. Hear what's happening on the subways that many people are not reporting.
You're watching CBS 2 News in high definition.
Good evening, I'm Jim Rosenfield.
And I'm Dana Tyler. A major development in the scandal surrounding Governor Elliott Spitzer's administration.
The State Ethics Commission says it will now investigate several of the governor's top aides accused in a plot to discredit Republican Senate Leader Joe Bruno.
CBS 2 political reporter Marcia Kramer has tonight's story from Albany.
There were no violations of law, and that is why we've acted appropriately.
For the 4th day in a row, Governor Elliott Spitzer tried to put the Troopergate scandal behind him.
My view is that it is now time to move on to the business.
But that is not going to happen. The State Ethics Commission today said it will now probe the scandal in which top aides to Spitzer used state police in a plot to discredit Republican Senate Leader Joseph Bruno. The commission has subpoena power, and it can compel the testimony of 2 top Spitzer aides, Communications Director Darren Dopp and Chief of Staff Richard Baum. Both refused to be questioned by Attorney General Andrew Cuomo. They submitted written statements. Governor Spitzer pushed his own innocence today.
I've answered all your questions about my knowledge, what I knew.
But the situation is so bad that a member of Spitzer's own party compared the digging up of dirt on Bruno to Richard Nixon and Watergate.
That goes back to the old days of Richard Nixon, and it didn't work out very well for him when his hench people or henchmen bungled a mere burglary.
The Republicans say they're considering their own probe and compared the actions of Spitzer's staff to the Kremlin.
The hair kind of stood up in the back of my neck because just returned from a trip to the Black Sea, and the KGB was pretty operative over there, and I didn't know that they were being called upon to reinstitute some kind of activities here in New York.
This borderlines criminality, what's happened here. We're talking about backdating FOIL requests. We're talking about tampering with records. We're talking about a whole host of issues, using the state police incorrectly for political gain.
A spokeswoman said the governor would cooperate with the ethics probe by turning over documents, but there was no comment about whether he would compel his 2 top aides to testify. In Albany, I'm Marcia Kramer, CBS 2 News.
The State Ethics Commission will seek all interview transcripts, notes, emails, and other material from the investigation just completed this week by Attorney General Andrew Cuomo. Jim?
Dana, the back-breaking work has begun at the site of last Wednesday's deadly steam pipe explosion on the east side. Crews are now underground, shoring up the area at the site of the blast. Chopper 2 HD was over the area a short time ago, and on the ground, CBS 2's John Slattery had a chance today to go past the barriers just a short time ago for our first up-close look into the crater. John?
Now, Con Ed officials say that it will take weeks before they are able to correct the huge problem, all of the utility lines that are underground in that crater. I was given a tour of the crater, the rim around it, as close as you can get this afternoon. Take a look at the mangled mess. The crater that takes up most of the intersection at 41st and Lex is a huge hole of utility lines like spaghetti, water lines, sewer lines, a steam line, you name it.
A series of electric equipment, some gas equipment, some telephone equipment, and down below, so deep that we can't even see it yet, is our steam equipment that ruptured last Wednesday.
How far down?
We don't know, because there's so much equipment on top, we haven't been able to get down there yet.
Con Ed took us on a tour within the frozen zone to the edge of the crater, where you can fully appreciate the scope of the damage and how much repair lies ahead. The blast of steam from an underground rupture shot up some 30 stories. One person died of a heart attack, some 40 others were injured. Even now, 3 buildings remain closed, some office windows remain shattered. The gas, phone, water, and electric workers are on round-the-clock shifts of 12 hours each. The size of the crater is to be expanded even further, and as it is, the walls of the hole must be shored up.
The shoring needs to be done to make safe access. It's a safety issue. We want to make sure whoever goes in that hole is safe.
Once the ruptured steam pipe is located, it will be excavated, taken to a lab, and extensively examined to try and determine what went wrong. Reporting live from Midtown, John Slattery, CBS 2 News. Dana?
Thank you, John. Grief and sadness tonight after 6 members of a New York family are killed in a fiery car crash in Virginia. The Gopal family was heading back to New York from North Carolina when their Honda Accord crashed into a truck. Witnesses say the Honda's driver appeared to lose control of the car. Both vehicles caught fire. The victims lived in Queens and the Bronx and ranged in age from 1 to 23 years old.
To be killed like this, and as you said, practically a whole family.
It's hard to believe, but you have to be strong and face reality, you know. It's time for them, and you do.
The driver of the truck was treated at the scene for a head injury.
It'll be at least a week before we know exactly why a veteran Newark firefighter died. On Monday, Cornelius Knowlton experienced back and neck pain while he was fighting a fire in Brookdale. The 37-year-old was hospitalized and released, but later went back to another hospital where he died. An autopsy will now be performed. Knowlton was a father of 3 and a 14-year veteran of the Newark Fire Department.
30 potential human remains were recovered yesterday at the World Trade Center site. Crews uncovered the fragments around Liberty Street. That's in addition to 35 found on Tuesday. All of the remains will undergo further testing to begin the identification process. The remains of 1,100 victims have not yet been found.
A beloved church official in New Jersey, a trustee, has been arrested for stealing from the offering basket. Investigators say it had been going on for a long time. CBS 2's Jay Dow has the story from Mountainside.
For years, he was trusted with his church's finances, but investigators say 71-year-old William Buno violated that trust, allegedly stuffing his own pockets with cash, some $28,000 over the years, from the offering basket at Our Lady of Lourdes Catholic Church in Mountainside. Hi, Miss Buno?
Yeah.
Today, only Mrs. Buno answered the door.
I don't care to comment on that. Thank you very much.
Well, did he do it? Investigators say Buno never got greedy. He always took a modest amount of money out of the offering, and he managed to get away with it for almost 12 years. That period ended in December when church officials caught Buno red-handed.
The church had a surveillance camera in place in one of the back rooms where money was dropped.
After a lengthy investigation, Buno was arrested and charged yesterday with theft. Parishioners still can't believe the news. And you still don't believe it?
Well, I want to see it. I want to see it. I don't believe it. I know the man. Like, everybody knows the guy. He's a great guy.
Church officials aren't making any comment, but the Archdiocese of Newark released a statement today saying, quote, the parish community of Our Lady of Lourdes has been very saddened by this entire incident, and this individual has not been in a position of trust since the beginning of this year. William Buno's next court appearance is scheduled for August 3rd. In Mountainside, Jay Dow, CBS 2 News.
And this isn't the only recent case on Long Island. A former altar boy was arraigned today on charges he stole money from his church's poor box. Police say security videos at St. Mary's Catholic Church in East Islip showed 37-year-old Matthew Belcher breaking into 4 poor boxes. Back in May, Belcher now faces 2 misdemeanor charges. He's free on $4,500 bail.
He asked for 2 new credit cards and ended up getting 2,000 cards instead. Wait until you hear what he did next.
A good Samaritan stops to help and is carjacked and dragged.
Down in the subways, there is something happening to riders at an alarming rate. It may have already happened to you. So what is it, and what's being done to stop it?
If you see news in your area, call our tip line at 1-800-CH2-NEWS. That's 1-800-CH2-NEWS.
Suffolk County authorities are investigating a fatal crash involving a police cruiser. An officer was responding to a call of 15 motorcycles speeding on Route 25A in Mount Sinai last night when he crashed into a 1993 Ford Mustang. The driver of the car, 27-year-old Gabriel Bergianti died a short time later at a hospital. The officer was treated for minor injuries and released. Authorities are asking anyone who witnessed that crash to call police. Jim?
Also on the island tonight, a good Samaritan says he has not lost faith in mankind despite being carjacked, dragged and punched by the man he tried to help. CBS 2's Jennifer McLogan picks up the story in Suffolk County.
James Scarabino had just left his Lake Ronkonkoma family, heading for his 1 a.m. shift in the Bronx. Suddenly, before his eyes, a silver Corvette left the road and flipped. Scarabino slammed on his brakes and rushed to rescue the motorist.
The car was on fire. Pulled the gentleman out. It didn't look like he was moving much. As he came out of the car, he gave me a shove.
What he didn't know was that the Corvette had just been stolen in Freeport. Police picked up the pursuit along the LIE here. At exit 58, the suspect rammed a family from Shirley and kept going. Now reversing direction at exit 53, he lost control, taking a curve at well over 100 miles an hour.
He reached my car, opened up the driver's door, and got in. As he was accelerating away, I was still holding on to him. We traveled, I don't know, about 50 feet.
The Good Samaritan tried to stop the guy once he got into the car, the suspect. He was dragged for a short distance.
Police called off the high-speed chase for safety after the carjacking and rear-ending of this Grand Am driven by Philip Pochia and his son.
Out of nowhere, just happened to look, you know, look in the rearview mirror and a set of lights, boom.
The suspect injured himself when he flipped the Corvette. His blood recovered in both the stolen and the carjacked vehicles. Police now have his DNA and say it's just a matter of time before they close in on him. On Long Island, Jennifer McLogan, CBS 2 News.
Scarabino says if he had to do it all over again, he would still rush to the aid of anyone in trouble. But what an experience.
A lot of people do that, help others.
Yes.
Have you ever been sexually harassed on the subway? If so, you are not alone. See what's being done to make sure strap hangers aren't subjected to lewd behavior underground.
Now, he must have really good credit. Still ahead, why a local accountant received boxes and boxes of the same credit card in the mail.
Cycling and doping are drugs synonymous with the sport. CBS News investigates whether a cleanup might finish the race for good. So that story and more tonight on the CBS Evening News.